Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Removing That Liberal Blindfold for this Wednesday, the 27th day of February in the year of our Lord, 2019. Before I get started today, I want to wish my stepdaughter a happy birthday. You're finally 21. What do you have planned? Okay, now, some of the things aren't coming up that I thought should be, but we are live, hopefully, and here is today's update. The liberals and Democrats today totally amaze me. They want us all to believe everything they say, and yet they find it hard to tell or even accept the truth. Believe them? I think not. Take the intelligence community. Hello, Connie. Good to see you here. They created a fake dossier on Trump. They wiretapped Trump. They spied on Trump. They leaked false information on Trump. They lied about Trump. They harassed Trump and his campaign advisors and staff. They framed and arrested Trump campaign advisors and staff. And you Democrats have politicized and weaponized our intelligence community. You deny there is a deep state, and the fake news media wants Trump to trust you. The sad part of all this fakery is that the low information people like Cliff, who only get their news from the lying lamestream media, believe it all. But most of all, what I mentioned here are acts of treason. They are acts of treason that would have put any and all conservatives who would do it in prison, while most of all the shenanigans and lawlessness that is coming from Washington these days is coming from the left. And only the right is paying the consequences of it all. From Conservative Tribune comes this one. When Donald Trump won the 2016 election, the first few days and weeks saw liberals beset with howling about how the Electoral College needed to be done away with, as they always do when they lose. When they win, they love the thing. Sure, the whole point of the election was to win 270 electoral votes, which is why the candidates allocated campaign resources the way they did. Hillary Clinton winning the popular vote must have been a salve for her ego, but in the end, $11.99 could have brought her. In the end, and $11.99 could have bought her a 12-pack of Yuling. She also had twice as much money as Trump to blow over the course of the campaign, and couldn't even win Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, states that hadn't gone red since the Nintendo Entertainment System was considered high-tech. The bleeding over the Electoral College eventually morphed into different forms of whining. First alighted on fake news before finally settling on the Russians did it, and settling there for the next few years. That didn't mean that the attempt to cripple the Electoral College was over and ever really went away, however. This past week, Colorado became the 13th state to pass a bill that would give its electoral votes to the winner of the popular vote, no matter who won the state. According to Oregon Live, the state's compact doesn't go into effect until it has enough members to deliver the 270 electoral votes to the popular vote winner. They're less than 100 votes short of that now. Most of the states that have passed this legislation generally go blue in the presidential elections, but therein lies the eventual problem for Democrats here. The number of states that are truly, reliably liberal is actually quite small. A Gallup study released Friday shows that only 6 states qualify as more liberal than conservative. That is compared to 25 states that are more conservative than liberal, including 19 where the gap is so large that they're considered highly conservative. These findings are based on aggregated data from Gallup's 2018 tracking poll, in which respondents were asked to indicate whether they described their political views as liberal, moderate, or conservative, a Gallup news release stated. States in which the conservative-liberal gap is 20 points or greater are considered highly conservative. More conservative than average states have gaps between 15 and 19 points. About average states residents prefer the conservative description by 7 to 14 points, and those with gaps of 0 to 6 points are considered less conservative than average. Perhaps most alarmingly for the left, no state could be considered highly liberal. The closest was Massachusetts, where 35% of respondents described themselves as liberal and 21% as conservative. That's a gap of only 14 points in the state where Ted Kennedy could dependably be returned to the Senate each electoral cycle, no matter what rank public dissolution he had engaged over the past 6 years. Compare this with the opposite end of the spectrum. Mississippi ranked as the most conservative state in 2018, with 50% of residents identifying as conservative and only 12% as liberal, for a gap of 38 points. 29% of Mississippians said they are moderate, and 9% had no opinion at all. In addition to 6 states where the gaps are more liberal than average, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, and Washington, 9 states qualify as less conservative than average: California, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Maine, New Jersey, Oregon, and Rhode Island. And now to remove that liberal blindfold. The liberal left Democrats and socialists know that if it was left up to the Electoral College, which actually evens out the playing field so that the big population areas on the East Coast and the West Coast don't elect the president for the whole country, they would lose most of the time. The reason that they want it changed, they don't want to change their ideals so that they can be more in line with the American people. They just want to stay where they're at and change the other things that make it so that they can win no matter what. Because after all, they deserve that, according to them. But what it comes down to is the freedoms and the liberties of all Americans, and we better hope that never happens. Because once it happens, here is what will happen to America the free. Socialists like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez and their free stuff for everyone mentality will prevail, and then things will start getting bad. Because no matter how much they promise, the money they are using for leverage comes from the American pocketbook. And the government doesn't have any money until it is taken from us, the American population. So what will happen then is our taxes will go up exponentially for everything that we have to buy, from food to cars to our heating oil for our homes. And it will go up to the point where no one will be able to afford anything, because all our money will be going to the government. Then we, the people, will get less and less from our overbloated government that will keep most of it for themselves. Americans will get poorer and poorer, while the Democrats and the socialists will get richer and richer, making America another third world poor country where the dictators and the leaders are the only ones doing well. I don't think that the American people want this, but the more we dally in the voting in of people like Bernie Sanders, Ocasio-Cortez, Pelosi, Schumer, Waters, Feinstein, et al., we will continue to find our freedoms, liberties, and money go floating away from us and landing and heading towards Washington. That is not how this country was founded. And we had better wake up, or I'm afraid that there will be another revolution on the horizon. And this one will get horrible before it gets better. And that revolution, the government and the left fear that one. Why do you think that they are so hard-pressed to push gun confiscation on us, huh? They want to tilt that one towards their favor. From Flag and Cross comes the latest bit about that one. And Governor Andrew Cuomo, Democrat, signed gun confiscation into law for New York on Monday. The law takes effect 180 days from the date of signing. Buffalo News reports that the law allows that family members, school administrators, and law enforcement officials can seek to get guns confiscated from people deemed by courts to be an extreme risk to themselves or others. Well, they leave it to that, and conservatives are going to be deemed an extreme risk to ourselves and to others by the courts, and they will do that, folks. If we don't, and if we, the people, do not put a stop to this, it will spread, and we will not like the consequences of any of it. Mark my words, folks. Thank you, Connie, for being here, and we are here to push the facts that the liberal mainstream media leaves out. Facts that change the story from what is right to what the left wants, which is never right anymore. Truth, justice, and the American way are the continuing casualties of everything that the left stands for, and the American people need to put a stop to that one and put a stop to the liberal left completely. God bless America. God bless our troops. And as always, we will not be ruled. Have a safe and blessed day.